Good morning. I'm looking wild today. I have been dressing myself up for the public over the past week, so I can't be bothered to do that with you today. We are in our natural state today. No makeup, no nothing. And I also have a mess around me. So, welcome back. My name is Leigh. Welcome back to the corner. I have been gone. I didn't have an episode last week. I warned you if you were around. But I'm back now and I have a lot to catch up on. Not all of it is knitting related. I actually haven't been knitting as much as I normally would have been. Just haven't been feeling it. Been busy, really busy. This is a video podcast. It is a cozy little corner where we talk about crafting stuff, mostly knitting, sometimes other things like cross stitch, crochet, and sewing. And I only have knitting to talk about today as far as crafting goes. I do have a couple of acquisitions because I did go to Chicago. I didn't know this at the time, but it happened to be the Chicago yarn crawl while I was there. And I did not crawl. They have like 19 yarn stores on their list of crawl stores. I went to one, but I wanted to go to at least one, and it was nice. It was fun. It was a good time. I bought a couple of things. No yarn. Very proud of myself, but some very useful things that I needed anyway. So I have a couple of acquisitions to talk about today, and no finished objects. Absolutely none finished objects. I've been struggling a bit. With the whole finishing stuff thing. Oh, my mug today is my snake mug. It's like my favorite mug. My husband, Brad, got it for me at Ceremonial Pittsburgh. It is an occult shop here in the next neighborhood over from me. It's really close. And I love it. It's one of my favorite stores. I don't know the full name of the artist who made it, but it is stamped K-Buck on the other underside. K-Buck, like a deer. I am vibrating. Who's vibrating me? Oh boy. It has been an exciting week for me for art stuff. So if you're interested in any of that at all, hold off till the end and I'll give a quick update on what's going on in that side of my life. If you're new here, I am a full-time illustrator. That is my day job. And I'm a crafter also. So here we go. Let's get started talking about knitting, I guess. I have whips. Not that one. That one I have a bag sitting here that was literally here last time I filmed and it did not move after I filmed. So obviously I haven't touched it. I have 6 whips, and 2 of them are new cast-ons. So we'll start really quick with the ones you've seen first. This one is the bane of my existence right now. We have my Moonset tee. This is a pattern by Ozetta, and I am struggling so hard to get through this damn shirt. All right. This is how far I am. I finished the sleeves, I finished the yoke, I'm on the body. I just have to finish the body and bind off. That's literally all I have to do. Last time you saw it, I was here. And it has been 2 weeks, and that's all I've knit. I don't know why I'm struggling so hard on this body, but I really am. I think I'm actually going to leave this out for the podcast so that I can like keep my hands busy when I'm not actively showing you things. I'll like knit a bit on it because that's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to knit on it like any moment. I've convinced myself to knit on it because it is dragging. I'm honestly just not having a good time. It has nothing to do with the pattern. It is a very intuitive, easy pattern, but still interesting, especially in the beginning. It has some really interesting construction things going on. But I just should I like move you down? I don't know if you'll be able to see my hands. Hold them up a little bit. It's not very ergonomic, but I'll do it. Yeah, the pattern's great. The yarn is gorgeous. The yarn is beautiful and wonderful, and the fabric is unreal. I just can't do the whole stockinette body thing right now. The yarn is, by the way, LeighKnits Pebble in the color Ivory. It is a recycled silk fine merino cashmere blend, and it's lovely. I absolutely love it. Highly recommend it. And that's all I'm gonna say about this one. Next whip that you have seen is, we'll do my dad's muscle burr hat. I believe you've seen this. I took this with me to Chicago. So I took this one to Chicago and I knit on it, not a whole lot, but a bit on the train. And I got this far. I don't remember where exactly it was last time you saw it, but I'm well over halfway now. I think I might have been about halfway when you saw it, which is just a little bit over the gray. So I've got a couple of inches since, or a few inches since then. It looks so small on camera, but it's actually like, how long is it now? Let's do a little bit of measure. It's maybe 12 and a half inches long, and it needs to get to 18 and a quarter. So about 6 inches left. Not too bad. Well, about 6 inches left, then decreases. So it's going, it's going. It's, you know, also just stocking it in the round, so I'm not like excited to work on it, but I took the train to and from Chicago, and they were both nighttime trains, and there's like enforced quiet time where all the lights are off and stuff. So I was able to knit on this in the dark. So that's why it got some work. Honestly, that is the only reason it got some work. All right, the only other whips I have are socks and a new cast on. I will do a summer sock camp update now because the other whip I have that is not socks is a new cast on that I'm actually excited about, so I'm gonna like talk about it. So we'll do summer sock camp update now. It's getting close to the end, y'all. It is, I didn't tell you the date. Today's Wednesday, August something, 10th. Wednesday, August 10th, 2022. I have been participating in summer sock camp, and I updated my little sheet for you. It looks like a mess, but if you're new here, this is my summer sock camp page. I had listed the sock yarns that I wanted to make sure I got through for camp here. My goal is 18 pairs over the whole camp. And then additional pairs, when I start them, I list them here, and then when I finish them, I cross them out. So far for summer sock camp, I have finished, quick overview, I finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 pairs of socks. I haven't finished any more socks since the last episode. And I have started 1, 2, 3, 4 more, which makes 16, which means I'm behind. I have not been in a sock mood, y'all. The sock itch is gone. It's just gone. So I've been picking up socks and doing like a couple of rounds on them at a time. It's just not for me right now. Also, my little knitting notebook is just a Muji notebook. So it was $1.50 and it's dotted and has, nope, it's gridded and it has a sticker from my friend Alinka, Rat Lady Art, little knitting moth on the front of it. Now let's talk about the socks themselves. The 2 sock whips I have 3 sock whips total going, and 2 of them you've seen before. The first one is my Bumblebee Acres Fireflies. This is, what is the actual name? Oh, tag's not here. I don't remember. The tag is like over by my computer and I can't be bothered. It has something to do with fireflies, the name of the color, but it's the summer sock camp colorway specifically made for camp by Bumblebee Acres Farm. And this is the Coquette sock base, which is the Corriedale? Maybe Corriedale nylon blend, I think. I'll put it on the screen if I'm wrong. If I'm not wrong, then I'm right. And the contrast color is Dusk. And this is so cute. I have a little progress keeper on here made also by my friend Alinka, Rat Lady Art. Super cute, matches perfectly. And look, they're so nice. They smell really good. I love the way rustic sock yarn smells. And this one feels rustic. It is superwash, but it is a definitely more rustic feeling wool than merino. And this is the first sock still. I'm not even done. I'm making these for Brad. So they are using my vanilla sock recipe below, except these actually did differently. Normally I do Brad 68 stitches, but for these I did 64 stitches for the leg, increased to 68 for the heel, and then kept it at 68 for the foot. That's what I'm doing here. And I did a fish lips kiss heel, as always. Yeah, I'm probably gonna keep these handy because they're nice vanilla knitting, but that's those. Those didn't go with me to Chicago. A lot of these, this one and the next one didn't go with me to Chicago, so they haven't been touched in like, it's been a week since I left. So they have not gotten a lot of work done. All the work done on them was done before I left. So there we go. There's that one. Oh, it's also in my adorable summer sock camp bag from Mountain State Stitches. I am obsessed with this bag. I love it so much. It's the perfect size. It's the perfect fabric pattern. It's just amazing. I love it. And I also have my Barrett Wool Co. socks on the go. These are in the little drawstring bag from Barrett Wool Co. that the yarn came in. And these are a pattern. These are my rocking chair socks. This is a sock pattern from 52 Weeks of Socks by Lina. And I finished, I can't remember where I was on these the last time. I definitely was already done with the first one. But on the second one, I have gotten past the heel. So that's pretty exciting. I just have to finish the foot. Get it done. I just need to do it. I just need to do the thing. These aren't complicated, like they're a pattern, but they're a very intuitive and very simple, just like knit, purl, yarn over pattern, which is pretty much the sweet spot right now for me. Not too complicated, but not vanilla either. So that's what we got there. And these are, I have project pages for everything on my Ravelry page. It's linked below, so if I forget to say anything, that's where you'll find missing information. But these are the Barrett Wool Co. fingering sock base. It's like the home fingering. It's nylon free. I can't remember if it's superwash or not. I want to say it probably is not, but I'm not sure either. And it's just gorgeous, beautiful. I think this green color is called grass green. And I can't remember the name of the pink. It's okay, it doesn't matter. It's beautiful and I love it. This is a super plump sock base, gorgeous to work with. Enjoying it when I can enjoy it. This did not go with me to Chicago either, so I haven't touched it in a minute. Oh man, I feel like I'm rushing through this. Probably because I've drank almost a whole cup of coffee already. I have my sweatshirt on and my coffee, and I have a candle lit up here just out of view for you. And I'm so ready for fall to start. I try to chill out until September 1st. Usually for me, September 1st is the start of fall. I get a solid September, October of fall, and then a solid November, December of Yuletide joy. So I'm trying to hold off until then, but I'm starting to get over like summer. I've been over summer, honestly, but I'm starting to gear up a little bit. It's August 10th. It's almost time for spooky season. I'll update a bit in the end when I talk about art stuff, but I'm gonna have to start on like spooky season stuff for my art job stuff early. So I'll talk a little bit about that, but it's very exciting. All right, last sock whip is a new cast on. I know. It's actually in this octopus bag, which is the bag for my Musselburgh hat. But since I traveled with this, I just stuck them both in the same bag. So give me a moment while I get my shit together. All right, shit together. we have my other new cast on, which is my pair of August striped socks. And why is the yarn? My August striped socks. These are what got the most attention while I was away in Chicago. And I got one sock completely through the stripes. The sock is not done. The foot is hilariously short because I just kind of guessed on how long to do the leg, and I did the leg too long, so I didn't have enough striped yarn to finish off the foot. I'm just going to be starting the toe really early, which will be black, but I'm using Knit Pick Stroll Fingering for the contrast color, so I have plenty of yarn to do that. I did a nice 15 round cuff for this one. I did a broken rib, a broken 3x1 rib for the leg and the top of the foot. These are for Brad. So these are 68 stitches. I loved working up this color. It's so fun. Also, it's getting me excited for spooky season. This is a colorway from Nomadic Yarns. It is called Ki 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 Ma Ma Ma, and it is a color based off of Friday the 13th. So horror movie color. I guess I could finish these today. I counted the rounds and I think I'm only like 10 rounds away from the toe, which isn't horrible. Like, it's just gonna be 10 rounds plus the toe that'll be black. It'll be fine. I think they'll look fine when I'm done. It just looks a little bit tiny right now, but it's okay. I worked on these while I was sitting at my table at the convention I was working at. So these were perfect table knitting. And I got all of this done at the table. This is the first sock and it is all I got done on these. I haven't started the second sock yet, but hopefully I can finish the first sock today. That'd be cool, like tonight sometime, just to get that one out of the way. That sounds like a good idea. I went ahead and split the yarn exactly in half before I left so that I wouldn't like overdo one sock and so that I could use exactly all of the yarn. So I succeeded in both of those things. I just made the leg a little too long, but that's fine. That is fine. And that's that for that. That's it for socks, actually. That's all my socks. All sock updates done. Now the last project I have to show you is also a new cast on, and it is the one I'm enjoying the most right now. This project is in my Black Pearl Magic bag. This I purchased from the Knot House in Frederick, Maryland. When I went to Maryland Sheep and Wool, Black Pearl Magic, Shayla was having a pop-up there. And I got one of the pink sparkly bags with the rainbow zipper. She did a pre-order for these. I think it was called like the Yarnival collection or something. So I have this in that. And this is a project that I started impulsively because we got new yarn into the yarn shop where I work, and the manager, my friend, was making this pattern with this yarn, and I was obsessed and I really wanted to make it. It is a cowl. I am usually not a huge fan of cowls. I have knit a couple of them and I like them, but I'm very particular about them. They need to have a lot of substance around the neck. I usually prefer shawls because I like a lot of fabric, a lot of volume around my neck. And normally just like single layer tube cowls just aren't enough for me. I don't want it to hang down. I want it to be like up and around my face. So this one fit the bill. It definitely gives me enough fabric. So I figured I'd go ahead. I did contemplate doing the shawl version of this because there is a shawl version of this pattern out. I thought about it, but decided not to. Just because it would have been more expensive for yarn and I'm trying to save money. And also I wasn't sure the stitch pattern would keep me interested for an entire shawl. Those are the reasons I chose to do the cowl. And this is the Inclinations Cowl by Andrea Mowry. It was our yarn crawl here in Pittsburgh like 2 weeks before this past week, and it ended this past week. And we sold so many kits for this because we got this yarn in that is so much fun. this color changing yarn. I did mine a little bit differently than the pattern calls for, and then some of our samples were knit in, but I'll tell you about that in just a second. The color changing yarn is Shopal Wool edition 3, which is a sport / DK weight yarn, and it is color changing, and I'm using the color 2329. I don't know the name of the color, but it's 2329. It is blues and yellows and a little bit of like oranges. Very, very much my speed. And I am in the second ball. It calls for 2 balls of that. I'm in the second ball of that. And the contrast color, instead of doing 2 color changing yarns, I decided to do 1 color changing yarn and then 1 solid or tonal yarn. So it's overall much more yellow than it appears in this, because the contrast color is a tonal. This is the contrast color. It's amazing how they look knit together. It looks so different. It's so fun. And this is actually really fun to knit. Like, I'm having a really good time. It is entirely half fisherman's rib. I am on the decreases now. This is like the front point of the cowl. And I'm on the decreases, so I'm over halfway done. Just need to decrease until the bind off we're at the seam, and then I have to seam it together, and that's it. But this is just, I really like half fisherman's rib. I started this cowl and enjoyed the half fisherman's rib so much that I immediately went and Andrea Mowry was having a sale for her birthday where all of her patterns were 39% off, and I went and bought the pattern for the birch pullover because it's an entirely fisherman's rib sweater, and I was like, I'm down for that. When I'm looking for sweater patterns on Ravelry, a lot of times I'm really drawn to sweaters that look ribbed, and the ones that I like always look like beautiful, clean, 1x1 rib. But then I click on them and they're brioche, and I am not a fan. I'm not a fan of brioche. It drives me up the wall and I get really bored and don't like it. But half fisherman's rib gives the exact same look and feel, squish factor of brioche without doing brioche. So the birch pullover is a half fisherman's rib sweater that looks like a brioche sweater without doing brioche, and I'm just so ready for it. So I went ahead and bought that pattern. Hopefully I can decide what to, I think it's a fingering weight sweater, and I have lots of fingering weight sweater quantities, so I should have something in stash to use for that. I'm gonna add that to my list of fall cast-ons. Let me hold this up real close so you can see how squishy and beautiful this is. It's gonna block out a good bit. These are both superwash merino wool yarns. Oh, did I tell you what the second color was? This is a Malabrigo Arroyo in the color Sunset. So it's a sport weight, 100% superwash merino. And I just love how this looks. It's going to suit my wardrobe so well. And that's that. There's really not much else to say about this. I am having fun with this one. It's not stockinette. That got a good fair bit of work done on it while I was in Chicago as well. Mostly like on the train while it was daylight. It feels kind of weird. I got this back out again. It feels kind of weird working on so many different things without finishing any of them. Sometimes that's my vibe. Right now it's not. Right now it's making me feel a little bit tired. Before we get into acquisitions, I wanted to say that my friend Natalie went through her stash and de-stashed a bunch of stuff. I claimed a good bit of it, but I'm not going to show a lot of it here. A couple of the things that she de-stashed are just not all that exciting, but are great for gift knits. I really want to, okay, first of all, I'm really bad about buying yarn really selfishly and having plans to make things for myself with all of my yarn, but then neglecting gift yarn. And then when it's time to make gifts, I have to buy yarn for gifts. But some of the yarn that she was getting rid of is beautiful, amazing yarn, but I thought some of it would be great for gifts. So there were some like already caked up balls of Woolfolk Tinned, I think, the fingering weight wool yarn from Woolfolk, in beautiful like shades of gray and blue, and I'm going to use those to make like hats that I think I'm going to give either to, I'm we have a lady who comes to the yarn shop who makes hats to donate to like the NICU or to homeless shelters, and I think I'm going to use that to just crank out a bunch of hats for things like that. And then there's also like a really cute Brooklyn tweed hat kit with a pattern that I am going to use to make a Christmas gift, and just assorted things like that. But I'm not going to show any of that because it's not very exciting stuff. I do have one yarn acquisition that I purchased, and I do have one yarn acquisition that was gifted to me for the yarn crawl by one of our lovely, lovely yarn dyers here in Pittsburgh. She was hosting a pop-up at our shop and gave me a sock set thing. Let's go ahead and just show those off, I guess. Let's do those first. No, we'll do what I got in Chicago first, because it's not yarn. In Chicago, I went to Nina Chicago, and it was a beautiful store. I did not know before going in there that they were also a sewing shop, which I love. I was very excited. I found some things there that I needed. Okay, so Nina Chicago haul is little but powerful. I bought at Nina a couple of things that I really needed. I just bought, the most boring thing is just this box of bobbins, a little pack of bobbins for my sewing machine. They sold Bohan bobbins and needles and all sorts of supplies, and Bohan is my favorite. So I was able to just grab this little box of bobbins for my sewing machine so that I think I only have like 2 bobbins that came with my sewing machine. I've never bought bobbins. If you don't know, my sewing machine is vintage and I only got it over Christmas, so I haven't had it very long. I'm still like learning the ropes. It's a process. Another exciting thing I got is they had wool wash there. This is Tuft Woolen's sock soap, which is my favorite wool wash, and they had it in orange spice cake, which is one of my favorite flavors. This is the one I'm actually currently using now, and I was running low, so I was very excited that they had it there, and I was ready. I was just like, oh yeah, let's do it. Let's go ahead and grab my extra orange spice cake. It smells so good. And then the last thing I got from Nina is not something I was looking for there, but when I saw it, I needed it because I have been needing it. If you've been here for a while, you know that I have been sewing a linen skirt, hand sewing it. I finished everything on the skirt except the buttonholes. And I've been struggling with the buttonholes a bit because I didn't have a buttonhole chisel. I thought about ordering one online, but I thought that's a silly thing to buy. Like, why would I waste my time buying a buttonhole chisel when I'm sure there's like another way I can just cut buttonholes accurately? See, that's the thing. It's like you can just cut buttonholes with scissors, but since I'm hand sewing, I want it to be precise. I don't have a lot of wiggle room because like on a machine, you sew the buttonhole first and then you cut the center out. Hand sewing, you cut the hole first, and it's like kind of stressful. And it's got like 14 buttonholes on it. But anyways, they had buttonhole cutters. They had buttonhole chisel sets there. This is a buttonhole chisel set from Gingham Square, and it comes with, let me open it up for you, everything I need. It's got a little piece of hardwood shaped like an apple. Isn't that cute? Or yeah, an apple. Isn't that cute? To put under your fabric so that you can chisel into it without hurting the fabric underneath or whatever's underneath. I also have self-healing cutting mats, so it's not really that big a deal. And it comes with 2 hole punch things. The buttonhole chisel is just about maybe 1/2 inch buttonhole knife. And then there's also a punch for a hole for like eyelets and such, which is super useful. I did not know that I needed one of these as well. I mean, I don't yet, but it will definitely get used at some point. I'm going to put eyelets in something, I'm sure. And then when I need it, I have it. So that was actually a super useful purchase and not very expensive. They also had an even cheaper set, but I liked this one. I like the wooden handles and it was just nice. So I got this one, but I think it was only like $8 or something. Not expensive. So that's nice. And that is my Nina Chicago haul. I really wanted to get a Chicago yarn to commemorate my Chicago trip, but since I only went to the one shop, I wasn't gonna buy yarn if I wasn't like in love, like absolutely completely sold and smitten with it. So I didn't find one that I really wanted there. If I'd gone to more than one shop, I'm sure I would have found one at one of the shops. I wanted to go to Miss Pearl, but it was like a 45-minute drive from where I was staying, and I just couldn't convince myself to talk my friend into driving me 45 minutes away to a yarn shop. So that's how that went. All right, yarn. This is a very fun thing for me to have. This was a gift from Jody of Flower Hill Fleeces. She did a pop-up at our yarn shop for our Pittsburgh yarn crawl, the Steel Valley yarn crawl. It's not just in Pittsburgh, it's the Steel Valley yarn crawl, so it's in some of the surrounding towns as well. But she gave me this gorgeous sock tube set. It's a cranked sock tube in the color maple syrup. Look how beautiful. I think I've contemplated purchasing this color from her before, actually. Look at that. It is a 60 stitch tube, I believe. Yes, it's a 60 stitch tube, so it will fit me. Normally my socks are 64 stitches, but this is a larger gauge than how I knit. So it looks the same size as my normal socks. So that'll be good. And then it comes with these two gorgeous contrast colors for the heels, toes, and cuffs, which I will add myself. And the colors of the contrast colors are bark and sunflower. And look how perfect those are together. This is so much fun. I've never had a sock tube. It's so long. Like, look at how much tube there is here. I can't believe how much tube there is. This will also fit my brother, and I'm not sure if I want to make socks for myself or for him. I do really love this color, so they'll probably be for me. I'll have long socks. I usually don't knit myself really long socks just because I'm impatient, but since this is already cranked for me, I can have long socks. That'll be fun. The last acquisition I have is a purchase. We had a second local Pittsburgh yarn dyer do a pop-up at our yarn shop, and her name is Rita. She is of Ex Libris Fibers. You may have heard about her before on this channel because I have knit socks with her yarn before. But listen, she dyed a colorway especially for the town where our yarn shop is, based off of the town's library, and it's called Little Brick Library, and I had to have it. This town, by the way, is not the town where I live. It's just the town where the yarn shop is, but still I spend a lot of time there. So here we go. It's outside of Pittsburgh. This is her logo. It's called Little Brick Library, and I got the sock yarn, 75/25 sock yarn. And look at it. It's this gorgeous like red brick and brown and gray. It's got like a lot of stone details on the library. It's really beautiful old historic building. And I bought this. I love it. It's so good. It's so good. Beautiful. And both of these would go on my fall yarn shelf, but they will not fit. There's room. There's no room. There's no room left on the shelf. Let me point you up a bit. You see here? There's like a hole here that maybe I could fit one more in, but it'll be squished up to the top. And then there's like, I mean, there's not much room here on the shelf either. You can see it's like all the way up to the top. This is my spring and winter shelf. But like, look at this. I need to start getting through some of this fall sock yarn. I've not been, I said I'm not in the mood for socks right now, but I am in the mood for fall. So I think pulling out some colors I'm excited for will really be helpful. These guys will not make it onto the shelf yet because they just physically won't fit. But I might go through and pull out some fall yarns that I want to like cast on. I'm allowed. Because I'm feeling still like uninspired with my knitting lately, I've been thinking about just casting on some stuff. If you watched my fall knitting plans video, we are really sideways here. There we go. If you watched my fall knitting plans video, the Douglas cardi that I had planned with all of those scrap yarns and is already in a bag and ready to go, I have gathered up the needles I need for it, and I've gone ahead and purchased the pattern in Andrea Mowry's birthday sale. Perfect timing. I purchased the pattern, I printed it out. Did I print it out? Yes, I printed it out. I have everything ready to go. So I'm like ready to cast that on like immediately. I was really trying to finish this before doing that, which let's knit. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I really don't. Honestly, I would not be surprised if this ended up going into hibernation until next spring. I'm really hoping not. I'm trying to keep it out so that I could get a few rounds in here and there because I'm just really not feeling it. But it is still early enough. It is the beginning of August. I have plenty of time to wear this year. It is a wool t-shirt, wool and silk t-shirt. So I have plenty of, it's a layering piece. I have plenty of time this year still to wear this. That is neither here nor there. I want to cast on that cardigan. I feel like maybe I could cast on a couple pairs of fall socks and be really excited about it. This might actually be a really good one to start because it's already got a tube. That could be a nice bit of instant gratification. Also, 2 of my pairs of socks that I have going are both for Brad. That's pretty cool. That doesn't usually happen. But yeah, let's do a bit of an update on like my art stuff. That's all I got for knitting things. I think that's all of my knitting update stuff. Since I was in Chicago this past week, I did want to give you a bit of an update on like my art stuff, just because I'm so excited about it, and tell you a little bit about my trip. If you're not interested in this, I think this is going to be it for the rest of the video. I'm just going to be talking about this and then ending it. So if you were only here for knitting / crafting stuff, then thanks for joining me. If you want to stick around, feel free. We'll have a few minutes of chit chat while I knit. I went to Chicago. This past weekend was C2E2, which is the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, which is the C2E2. Anyways, it is a big pop culture convention in Chicago, and I worked there. I had a table and peddled my wares, sold my stuff, and it ended up being a really good weekend. It was a lot of fun. One of my best friends, I stayed with her. She was with me the entire weekend at my table. She helped me out and kept me company, and it was great because I hadn't seen her in several years actually. You know, before the pandemic, she moved to Chicago and she was far away, so it was like a big deal to go visit, and then there was a pandemic and it had been years. So it was really good to see her and spend time with her. And the show itself was actually really successful. It was my best show yet, which I said about. I did Heroes Con in Charlotte back in June. I had said that about that show, and then this one blew that one out of the water. So, love that. Hopefully it's just gonna keep going. It's all up for here. But that means that I have a lot of work to do between now and my next show, which is in September. Now, my next show is themed, which is very exciting. I have a lot of restocking of my stuff to do, but I also want to make a lot of new stuff for this next show. The next show is in Pittsburgh. It is called Bitchcraft Fair, and it is an occult spooky themed show here in Pittsburgh. Big Halloween vibes. So I want to have a lot of like new Halloween stuff to sell. I want to do some like Halloween themed mini paintings, which are a lot of fun. They're just small original paintings that I usually sell already framed. I am going to go shopping at some point. I want to go thrifting for some vintage frames, like miniature frames. I do have some already, but I need more. Do some spooky Halloween themed mini paintings, make some new Halloween themed stickers or spooky fall themed stickers, and maybe a new print or two, fall themed print or two. I would really like to really lean into the whole spooky season vibe this year and get some fun new spooky artwork done. It's gonna be so much fun. I'm very excited about it. And then after that one, I just have one more show this year. I have signed up for applied to 2 more shows here locally in Pittsburgh, but I don't know yet if I'm in them. So as of right now, I'm just preparing for 2 more shows this year. Yeah, I'm very excited. I always feel super motivated after a convention to make art. I'm very inspired. Being around other creatives is super inspiring. Seeing all that beautiful work, buying stuff from other people. I purchased quite a few things this weekend that I didn't bother to show on here because it's all not yarn related. But yeah, I'm very excited. I'm feeling very motivated. Feeling good. I think that's it. Oh, Brad's home. Perfect time. Thanks so much for joining me today. It feels good to be back. It just feels great. He's making so much noise. I will see y'all next time.